Shalom WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah talk. This week in Shul, we will read Parshat Va-era as we move quickly and swiftly into the heart of the Exodus story. Moshe is commanded by God to encounter Pharaoh, to find Pharaoh and tell him, "Let my people go." And there's this fascinating verse, the beginning of chapter 7, where it says, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, re'eni taticha Elohim leParo. God said to Moshe, "Look, I am placing you in the role of God to Pharaoh. V'Aharon achicha yeh neviecha, and Aaron, your brother, will be your prophet. Ata tidaber et kol asher atzavecha. You will be speaking, or you are speaking, everything that I command you. V'Aharon achicha yidaber el Paro, and Aaron, your brother, will say it to Pharaoh, or tell it to Pharaoh. V'shilach et bnei Yisrael me'artzo, to let the Israelites depart from his land." So, actually raises a lot of questions. First of all, it's quite a bold statement to say, "I'm placing you in the role of Elohim to Pharaoh." To say that you will be in the role of God is an odd way to say this. We know that previously he had protested, and it will come up again, that Moses had protested that he's aral sfatayim, some kind of speech impediment. And this is what God says to him to comfort him. Don't worry, you'll be in the role of God. And so Aharon will play prophet, which in this case seems to mean translator or something to that effect. So I've always been struck by this phrase, and I found this beautiful Hasidic commentary of Ma'or V'Shemesh on the phrase. So the question is, why does God need to mention again, "You will be in the role of God to Pharaoh," before he says, "Ata tidaber et kol atzavecha," that you are saying everything I command you? And I keep saying it that way, or you shall say, "Ata tidaber," you shall say, "Kol asher atzavecha," everything that I command you. So Ma'or V'Shemesh actually says this is revealing one of the absolute deepest secrets. He uses that word, secrets, in the Torah. He said it's a real secret, not like the secrets that you can get from the Zohar or from the Ari, the great Kabbalistic innovator and interpreter of Sfat. But no, this is a real secret. Real secrets can't be written down by anyone. You have to sort of tease them out for yourself. And so what's the secret, says Ma'or V'Shemesh? It says, Vayomer Adonai, right? I am Adonai. And that's actually the key to this whole statement. It starts that God says. And what's the secret? The secret is, what is this God? And what the Ma'or V'Shemesh says is, we don't know. That's the secret. That's the deepest knowledge. And maybe Moses understands it. So the question is, why? Why does Moses understand it such that he can play this role of being like a god to Pharaoh? And he goes on, and it's a fairly long commentary. But what struck me is that the reason why, what is Moshe's one quality that is most important? It's humility, right? That basically it's Moshe's lack of ego that allows him to get out of the way and understand God, right? In a way that nobody else ever has and maybe ever will, right? The Torah tells us there's never another prophet quite like Moshe. So because Moshe knows Adonai, knows God in a way that is so hard for us to capture, he can play this role for God or interpret God's will to Pharaoh in this direct way, so direct, so secret, so perfect, that Moshe himself needs a prophet, and that prophet is Aaron. Aaron needs to actually deliver the message to Pharaoh in the same way that Moshe is a prophet to God, that the pure essence of the message of God is so powerful that very few can actually understand it. Those are the prophets who can then translate it to the rest of us. The lesson that I want to highlight here is that the key to understanding spirituality is humility. That most of us are in our own ways, right? Like, Pharaoh can never understand what true divinity is about, right? Pharaoh thinks he's a god himself, right? That is the opposite of being able to actually connect with God. And the truth is, so many of us in one way or another, and we can't help it, are caught up in ourselves, in our egos, in how we look, in our stature, in our pride, in other people's stature, in other people's pride. We get caught up in movements. We try and be accepted by others, whether the things that they're saying are making sense or not. We choose enemies and friends. All these aspects of life concern our sense of stature, our sense of self, and how we measure up to others. And it's human nature. We're social animals. But I think there's a powerful message here that if we really want to get deeper into the Spirit, if we really want to get deeper in connection to God, to our spiritual selves, to the spiritual world, we have to start getting out of our own way. And how do we do that? Stop comparing ourselves to others. Best thing we can do to take some of that out of our lives, get off social media. You're not learning much there probably that you need, and there's a lot of temptation there to compare to others, right? Do meditation, seek the spiritual that's deep inside yourself. Meditating is hard. It takes practice, but 5 minutes spent with your own thoughts will tell you quickly just what a trap our minds can be. Just bombarding you all the time with messages and social cues, comparisons, ideas, sometimes crazy ones, but they're in there all the time. Sometimes we need to stop and listen to them so that we can bat them away and take control of them. Ultimately, the message, I think, of the commentary of Ma'or V'Shemesh, as well as of this passage, not so much that we should want to be in the role of God to others, God forbid, but that ultimately, if we can get out of our own way, if we can worry less about power and status and all these kinds of things, then that spiritual sense, at least a shred, a piece of what Moshe was able to achieve, is also there for us. Halavai, we can get a little taste of the divine, a little taste of the holy in our life. And if we have it sometimes, then to have it a little more often. And to do that, we need to do exactly what Moshe did his whole life. Find true humility. Get out of our own way. Look for that. Seek that deeper spiritual sense of the world. Recognize our own helplessness in so many places and give ourselves over to a power greater than ourselves, but not to be afraid to take action as Moshe does when the time calls for it. This is a spiritual existence. This is the humility, actually, that is implied in this very difficult and powerful verse. See, I place you in the role of God to Pharaoh and your brother Aaron as your prophet. Right? It's basically saying that we all have the ability to at least get close to that. It starts with modeling Moshe's behavior, humility, commitment to that which is holy, commitment to stepping outside of our human need for power and stature and status, and ultimately to find that humility, to find what's really important in the world, real connections with others, real connections with what's going on inside of us. And if we are lucky, Chalavai, a moment, several moments of real connection with God. May we all find our way out of our own way this Shabbat and reach that next spiritual level that so many of us have been desiring, or maybe haven't even been able to tell we're desiring, but it's there for us if we grab it now. Shabbat Shalom.